Alrighty. Well, unlike some people, I've started losing quite a bit of weight. And there's different reasons for that. Now, I shouldn't be telling you this. I should be starting bloody classes because it works for me. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but I can lose quite a lot of weight without exercising. Amazing, isn't it? I was fairly certain I had a 40-inch belt here. It turns out I may be wrong because it's saying it's 38. I thought it was 40. A lot of my pants are 40-inch pants, and I used to have trouble getting into 38-inch pants because I had one or two pairs of 38-inch. I could only fit into 40, but this belt here is 38. Now, that's the belt I've stopped wearing as of a couple of weeks ago. And I'm now wearing a 36. It's a little thing you buy the belt in, little clip goes in there. It's a common cheap crap department store brand. Because this only cost me like friggin' $3 or something. And another, non-leather polyurethane heap of junk. At the moment, this 36, when I first got it, what do we got? I think it's 5 notches here. 1, 2. Yeah, there's 5 notches. When I first got it, I didn't want to fit on the end notch, so I thought, well, I'll see if I can fit 2 notches in. So I fit 2 notches in, and it's got to stretch a bit. So a couple of days later, it starts to stretch into shape, and I've gone down to 3 notches before too long, and that's what I'm currently sitting at, is 3 notches. What do we got here? Now you can't really see too well. Woo! Oh, this is not working with this bloody light, I tell you what. 1, 2, and I'm on the 3rd one. I'll be quite honest, and you should be able to see, there's 2 more left. I'll be quite honest, I can throw it into the 4th one. Like so. 1, 2, 3. I'm in the 4th one. There's the 5th one, and that's it. No more. And that's that's not undoable. I preferred the 3rd one. And what I'm trying to say is, if I go to the 4th one, I've only got 1 notch left, and I've got to buy another bloody belt. Getting friggin' ridiculous, isn't it? So, yeah, it's, I'm losing weight without a problem, and this is, I used to, when I didn't work, I'd put on quite a lot of weight, and I'd lose it all within the first 3 weeks of working, and now I'm actually losing weight when I stop working, and there's a bit of a reason for it, and it's because I'm not going to the shops, buying all this fancy pre-packaged food, and, getting pre-made, pre-made salads, potato salads with cream in them and all this other bullshit that they have that's all pre-made there. You even get like pre-cooked prawns and stuff, and I used to go in there and I used to get everything that's a discount because it's a bargain, and then I'd buy more than I could damn well eat, so I'd be trying to eat faster so that I ate it before it went off, because all these discounts are stuff that's never used by date. That didn't really help the situation. I'm eating a lot more plain, and that's a lot more to do with it. Also, I realised, we have sheep and all that, but my father, without asking me, he's decided that it's hard work for him to kill the sheep. Instead of saying, Link, maybe you should be doing it, he's just decided, oh no, fuck it, we're going to get rid of a whole heap of sheep, and now we've got a lot less, and he's scheduled a lot less to knock off without asking me if maybe I could pick up the pace, you know. So, so they're going out and buying meat, and I've been buying meat, which is the stupidest fucking thing in the world when you've got sheep walking everywhere. He's actually got rid of a lot of the blooming females, so they're not going to breed as fast. So even if we want more, well, it's too late because we got rid of most of the females. It fucking, I don't know. Sometimes these decisions are made without asking me anything, you know. And I'm sort of at the point where, you know, you're getting close to age 40. Maybe you should be picking up more responsibility. And they don't even ask you if you want to pick up more responsibility. They just fucking just make a decision anyway based on them, you know. It doesn't really matter because I, as always, can get things very cheaply, and I sort of have realised that you don't exactly need to eat 2.5 pounds of meat a day, or 2 pounds is you know, wouldn't be terribly uncommon some days if I eat 2 pounds, and you don't even need 1 pound, so I try and eat half a pound at a maximum. There's some days where you know, I try to go without on occasion and just have eggs instead, or have a couple of tins of fish instead, or something, you know, something that's sort of, you know, a bit of protein. But do you need to have meat absolutely every day? You know, there's sort of two different common digestive types. There's one that's more, you know, eats more meat, and another type that eats more greens. And I'll be honest, my guts have never gone well with greens. They never do. If I eat a whole heap of salads, you know, the next day, whoo, man, I'll be firing. You know what I'm saying without saying it. And even some of these greens that are cooked aren't that great. I don't know if it's because of how light some of these salads are, or what it is, but I just, you know, really with a lot of greens, I don't go well with a lot of greens, and some people do, and you know, they're the people who, you know, have a lot of greens and can handle a lot of milk. I can't handle as much milk. I'm more they call it the Neanderthal style, you know, because I'm not eating like a fucking neo-hippie hipster wanker. You know, I sort of, you know, you're not the politically correct kind, so therefore you're old style, so they call you a Neanderthal style eating, where you're, you know, less greens and more meat, while they're more greens and more milk and stuff like that. And I know that I can't, you know, I'm not really good with I'm better with the A2 milk, the lactose free. I'm not like totally like lactose intolerant. I've got a niece who is badly lactose intolerant, but I've got a little bit of intolerance to it, but I'm not too bad. But you know, it's best if you don't, sort of thing. But really speaking, one of the biggest kickers of all that a lot of people never realise is sugar intake makes you fat. And like, I simply gave up eating donuts. And I didn't eat heaps and heaps of donuts. I didn't eat them on a regular basis. But, you know, I might have had, you know, maybe a dozen a week or something like that. And I quit donuts. And I'll tell you what, just that drop in sugar, I lost weight alone out of quitting donuts, you know. I'm serious, you know. And I don't drink as much soft drink as I used to. I'm not saying that I don't have any. I've got some really discounted Coca-Cola Peach. Yeah, that's right, peach. By the way, cherry cola in Australia is one of the biggest fucking economic flops you could imagine in terms of soft drink. Nobody fucking wants cherry cola here. It's absolutely just, people fucking hate it. It's disgusting. You know, all these Americans, oh, you should try Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Dr. Pepper was one of the biggest frickin' economic flops you've ever seen. One of the most heavily invested and one of the most flops you've seen. You know, people just, fuck, you know. We have cough syrup that tastes better than that shit. And I'm fucking serious. Like, a lot of our fucking cough syrup tastes better than half of these blasted American sweets, honestly. I tell you what, if you Americans knew what you're missing out on in terms of vehicle quality and food quality, you'd be fucking stunned. America's got the best in the world! Oh, you fucking... No. That's what you say when you don't know anything outside of America. Yeah, that's the truth about that. Anyway. Fact of the matter is that, you know, I've sort of... Look, if you're ever worried about saturated fats, give up takeaway food. If you're worried about weight, just simply giving up sugar alone will be a, you know, and not 100%, you know, I should still pour it in my coffee, you know, but just get rid of the bulk of sugar, the bulk of takeaway foods, you know, and all this pre-processed crap. And, you know, and that's another one that can really affect people, is just processed food alone can make people fat. And, you know, you'll be right. There's one green that I don't go too badly with at all. I friggin' love it, actually. And that is Chinese barrel cabbage. And it's not really a cabbage. It's like a sort of, it's like in between lettuce and cabbage. It's heavier than normal lettuce, but it's not as heavy as a cabbage. And I used to be able to get that, and I mean, you know, you wouldn't believe it. But it's really, it's almost like butterhead lettuce, which is like, I call it the clouds of lettuce, you know, because it's so soft and fluffy. Butterhead lettuce is amazing lettuce. It really is. This is coming from someone who used to be able to take home stuff from work and grow this stuff himself. And trust me, coming from the you know, so-called biggest nursery in the Southern Hemisphere, you know, commercial nursery, you know, wholesale only, vegetable nursery. Coming from that, I know my damn veggies, don't worry about that. I know my lettuces, I know all the varieties and all the, you know, who's who in the zoo. Yeah, there's even a strange one the Chinese have, which they don't actually use the leaves, they use the stem. And that's called celtuce. It's, yeah. It's like you let the lettuce go to seed and then you cut the stem up. And it tastes more like a cross between celery and lettuce or some frickin' weird thing. It's just bizarre. But it's not even really lettuce as lettuce, to be honest. But yeah, this wombok, Chinese barrel cabbage, as it's also called, I used to get some of that. And you don't get the outer leaves, you boil the outer leaves, but you get more in the center and you slice it up and use it as lettuce. And I used to have sandwiches that was just that stuff. And it sounds like shit, but let me tell you, it's fucking brilliant. And if you know, just that alone in wholemeal sandwiches is just, you wouldn't believe how fucking good it is. You know, like you think, oh, lettuce is just watery shit and you need to put dressing in. No. This is, it's different. It's not a cabbage. It's heavier than a lettuce, but it's not really a cabbage. And, you know, I could eat sandwiches of that stuff for lunch, you know, and I used to, and sometimes still do, you know. It's great stuff. You want to throw in a bit of slices of egg, or like boiled egg slices, or friggin' tomato slices or whatever, and eat it with, you know. Fantastic. Which is another one too. You don't always need butter on bread. And I actually hate butter. Like, I do not like butter. I was brought up on margarine, and that's what I'm used to. And I've also realised you don't need margarine on everything. There's some things that are moist enough that you actually better not to throw it in there, or just having that sort of the fatty content of your margarine or butter sort of clashes with the fact that it's a salad. I mean, when's the last time you had lumps of fat in a salad? It doesn't fucking work, you know? You don't have lettuce and tomato and then maybe you have mayonnaise, yeah, but butter? Oh, fuck that. So I don't have You know, there's some things that I just won't have butter or margarine. I mean, I never have butter anyway, but I won't have margarine with the, you know, on the bread. I just have it without that on the bread. The other thing that's a great benefit, and you wouldn't believe how beneficial it is until you've started reading, until you've talked to some old German guys or some old Dutch guys who have had the surgery, or you go and look up the old JPEG file from 15 or 20 years ago, probably 20 years ago, floating around on the internet. Yeah, it was 20 years ago. It was late 90s. It's called 4 Foot Turd. I think I've got some cats about to fight. You be good, alright? No fighting. You be good, buddy. Just growling at the other cat. And what it basically is it's from eating white bread. Now, back in the 1800s, they developed white bread where they, using a processing technique, they managed to get the germ out of the wheat, which is some of your, like your more, I don't know, you wouldn't really call the centre, it'd be like more like the stemish part. It's got a lot of the better stuff in it and the fibre in it. It's about 20% of the whole grain, I think, something like that. But they managed to, you know, and this is all like some Austrian thing or, you know, some European thing where they won this award. An Austrian baker won this award in France, I think it was, or something, for the best pastry. And how they managed to do it was all bread was wholemeal before that, but in 1880 something, they managed to develop this way of processing the wheat to get the germ out. So then, and the wheat germ, not the bacteria, and that gave you beautifully puffy and fluffy and soft pastries. So you could make things that all fluff up like croissants and all that sort of shit. And, you know, and it all sounds great, but then your guts suffer. And what happens is all that white bread, all that refined non-wholemeal bread, and this is when they say whole grain, they mean the whole grain, not the grain minus the germ, which is your 80% of the grain, and that's your white bread. That stuff clogs to the inside of your large intestine or something like that, and then it starts to rot, and then they have to have surgery to have it cut out, or they've got to go in there and there's a way they either, you know, use some sort of thing to get it out of your system, and sometimes they, you know, have extracted, like they've actually cut part of the stomach out, cut the intestine out, and joined the two ends together, and then they've gone and cut this thing open, and that's where the 4 foot turd or whatever it is has come, you know, from, is just the intestine sliced open. And there's, you know, there's different ways they try to move it out, or they try and do something where they, you know, to cut a hole and then go in and draw all the crap out or whatever, and try and keep it sterile. And there's ways that they, you know, they've got to, but pretty often it can go bad. And there's someone my mum knows, an old Dutch guy, and that's exactly what happened to him. He had to go in and get surgery done or get something done because of that. And it happens to a lot of old Germans and a lot of old Dutch guys. And, you know, it's, you know, they hit about 70 years of age or the late 60s, and their intestines are stuffed. And all those problems stem from fucking white bread. In a nutshell, refined white bread and, you know, all those donuts, croissants, all this nice, soft, fluffy, white bread related stuff, you know, fuck that. Stick to wholemeal stuff. I now find I can even get wholemeal noodles, and I'm going to start buying those instead of normal noodles. I just sort of went on a bit of a noodle buying spree to fill the van up, and I mean a real, I come home with a lot. And I also got some strange ones on discount as well, so, you know, which are actually imported from India, even though it's an Australian brand, but they've got an Indian spice in them, and they're quite good, the masala. But anyway, there's a lot of things you can do to get your health up without even having to fucking walk a half a mile a day, you know, and you can really drop your waistline, and it really is about what you eat. And quit the sugar, quit the processed foods, switch from white bread to whole grain bread, quit the takeaway crap, and maybe it's not a bad idea to drop your meat consumption to half a pound a day, and you know, and no more than that. Occasionally don't have meat for a day, you know, and just stick to the basic stuff, and you should be right, you know. And it's stunning what you can do. You know, I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, but it's worked for me. It's stunning what you can do without having to exercise, and how you can drop so much weight off. And I used to always, you know, because I'd buy so much discount stuff, I'd just keep eating until I was full. You don't always need to eat till you're full. It's as simple as that, you know. There's nothing wrong with going and buying food and getting a big heap of stuff when you might go and get some blooming sandwich or roll or something. They've got a freaking huge big thing. And you can get a takeaway, you know, like Subway or something that's sort of not too, you know, fairly healthy type stuff. Nobody said you had to eat the whole fucking foot-long thing just like that. Don't you, you know, you don't have to, you know. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting a bit aside and eating half of a roll, plus a bit of this, plus a bit of that, plus something else, you know, plus half a tin of beans that you had, and make a meal out of, you know, a few different bits and pieces. There's no obligation to stuff yourself full, and that's one of the other things too. If you stop absolutely stuffing yourself full every time, all this bullshit of just instantly starving yourself to try and lose fat is crap. I've realised if you don't overeat to begin with, and you only eat fairly lightly, or you get some meals that are just salad based, like you have a meal that's pretty light type of stuff, you know, it might only be 2 packs of ramen noodles, or it might be a few salad sandwiches, or it might be something else that's a little bit light, like you, instead of having a big solid lunch, you have a light lunch. What happens? Your body ends up slowly drawing down your fat reserves. But this idea of just, well, I'll just suddenly go on a starvation diet and my fat will just be it. No, your body just cannot process to the point that you're living 100% off fat. You cannot survive 100% off fat. But if you sort of just keep cutting yourself back a little bit, and I don't mean, you know, like you suddenly drop like a stone over 2 weeks. I mean, you just, instead of eating yourself full, you eat a light lunch, you know, every second day or whatever. You know, or you have one meal a day that's a bit skimpy, a bit cheapskate, a bit not quite as big as it could be. You'll slowly burn that fat back off. But if you think you're going to starve yourself and your body is just going to 100% draw fat, it doesn't work like that. Your body just cannot break down that fat quick enough and reconvert it into energy. But it actually can break down and, you know, use 5% of your daily needs coming from fat reserves. And that's a way you slowly draw it down, you know. That's one method. You know, but all these dickheads get on this idea, oh, I'll just starve myself. Well, no, that's just going to fuck you up, because your body just cannot process it to provide 100% of your energy needs. And it's as simple as that. You know, it might only be bloody 2 or 3% of your energy needs, but, you know, if you got that slight deficit, yeah, it will start to draw. Yeah, I'm stunned myself, because I know for myself just the way that all these belts and these pants are getting so ridiculously slack all the time, you know, that it's not just the belt stretching. You know, if I put on my 38-inch belt on the tightest setting, like I was on the tightest setting of my 38-inch belt and my fucking pants are nearly falling off. You know, and it's like, my God, like I used to be on the second thing of that, you know, and worried that I'm about to go to the first thing, the first hole of it. Now I'm on the fifth hole and the fucking pants are nearly falling on the ground. You know, I'm walking around in public with a fucking, I'm going to the supermarket with a fucking hand on me, you know, left hand on me belt to make sure my fucking, I was sitting there going, this is bullshit. I can't be walking around in public trying to hold my fucking belt. Because it's just, you just got to get another belt, you know. It's just, you know. So I'm sort of pleased that it's been so damn easy for me to lose weight. And you look at old Tubbs out there, and I mean, the guy's just fucking destroying himself. You know who I'm talking about. He just like, oh, you know, well, I'm having problems with this now. Oh, well, I got this and I got this. And you look at the guy, and it's like, fuck me, drunk. You're an idiot. You're almost as wide as you are tall, for fuck's sake. And it's not an exaggeration. I mean, you measure that guy side to side, he'd be less than a foot difference width than he would fucking height, the rate he's going. You know, and then anyone says it, he's going, oh, no, too funny. Well, you know, as the old saying goes, bud, your funeral, and this time, you know, it may literally be your funeral or your heart attack, at least, you know. And it's just like, there's some people that just, you know, there's, oh man, it's just, you know. I know a friend of his says, oh, it always amazes me on the internet how there's so many people that are a lot smarter than you ever expected. And I've learned one thing from the internet. There's more dumb bastards than you ever imagined in the world. And that's all I've learned from the internet.